lots of eyebrows were raised the other day when the head coach of the Winnipeg Jets, who lost to the heavily favored Vegas Golden Knights, like this was not an outcome that was in any way some sort of meltdown. I mean, in fact, they played them pretty tough. And Hellebuck is a hell of a goaltender, and he did the best that he could in this series, but they lost, which was expected. However, their head coach, who this is his first year as the head coach of the Jets, said this and blamed his players after the loss to the Knights in a way that I think is just like frankly disrespectful.
This is going to be short and sweet, so let's get at it. No questions? Good.
Rick, just overall thoughts on that one.
Overall thoughts? I'm so disappointed and disgusted right now. That's my thoughts.
Where does the disgust come from?
Pardon me?
Where does the disgust come from?
No pushback. But it's the same crap we saw in February. It was. That's why so as soon as we were challenging for first place and teams were coming after us, we had no pushback. This series, we had no pushback. Their better players were so much better than ours, it's not even close.
Feels like you've been holding these feelings on for a bit. Is it just after tonight's game, or finally wanting to release that?
It started back in January and February.
What is it about this team's leadership core that, or the top end players? We talked about.
We got to push back. There's got to be a pushback. There's got to be pride. You got to be able to push back when things aren't going your way. We had no pushback. Their better players were so much better than ours tonight. They deserved to win. They were the better team in the regular season. They were the better team in this series. Anything else? Good. Thanks.
So that's an old fart who is been around the league, been a head coach of a variety of different teams, flamed out because, you know, I'll borrow from my friend Greg Kaplan here of Blue Shirts Breakaway. The NHL's decided there's like 35 guys that are qualified to be head coaches, and we're just going to cycle through them every single
the Jets
time.
rifled through the couch cushion and said, "Is Rick Bowness available?"
Oh, I guess so. I guess we'll turn to him. It's Rick Bowness o'clock.
To quote from a recent Succession episode, he's a tribute band.
Yeah. And honestly, what's wrong with you?
Yeah,
Who throws their players under the bus like that?
This sucks. This guy's a prick. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to. I know this is not the high grade analysis here, but this is just a fucking shitty thing to do.
Oh, totally. I
mean, go out there by yourself and railroad your players. Who are they playing for, my man? They're playing for you.
If there's a talent deficit, as you say, which is again nothing. It's literally like saying to your kids like you're ugly or something like that. Like you're not good enough. It's just what's wrong with you? That
calls into question the relationship that this guy has with his players.
Well, that's
you feel that comfortable while personally being around these guys for an entire year to just go out there and just completely throw them under the bus.
This is old school, old head, hockey head garbage. That's anti-player and frankly just uncool. And that sounds like a coaching deficit, Rick. If you felt that they didn't play hard enough, that's on you. And the good coaches understand that the fish rots from the head down, and I'm the head coach. It's my responsibility to get my players in the best position possible to defeat this other team. So to come out like that, especially like it would be one thing if this was game 6, right, Bradley? And they're coming up on game 7. He's trying to motivate them. I mean, I wouldn't have said all of that, but it's one thing to once you lose the series. Why are you trashing your players? Why are you trashing your players? And not just their effort, their talent level. They're better than us. I mean, and he's referencing the fact that the Jets kind of had a late third collapse in the regular season and ended up with the wild card. But like, if they're so untalented, Rick, this would have been the outcome anyway. And thankfully, I really liked that there was a response here. This is from Wheeler, right?
Yeah, Blake Wheeler. Yep.
Blake Wheeler. Mm-hmm. Blake Wheeler responded after news started to spread about these insane comments. Blake Wheeler, who is in a lot of pain, and the Jets might have to tear this entire thing down because Pierre-Luc Dubois is probably going to leave and go to his native of Montreal. That's the rumor, is that he wants to go play there. So, plus there, Nikolai Ehlers was hurt in this There were a lot of issues, and I know Scheifele was playing through some stuff, so there were excuses in terms of why they weren't able to play their best game. But here's Blake Wheeler responding to those comments.
I thought that Rick had an opportunity to address us as a team, and because now we have to answer that question, right? And I think he could have been honest with us. We could have had those discussions behind closed doors. So I didn't agree with how he handled himself after that game. I know that our performance in Game 5 wasn't up to a standard that we would have liked it to have been, and there's disappointment in that. I know how my teammates and I prepare for every game. This is the most important thing in a lot of our lives. Not my life, but a lot of my teammates don't have kids, so this is the most important thing in their life. And the preparation and what we do in between games is nothing short of being all in on trying to win that game. And unfortunately, we didn't show up in a manner that we would have liked to. So there's, like I said before, there is room for disappointment in that, but I didn't like how he handled after that game.
There you go.
I think the most important point of emphasis to make from what Wheeler's saying is it almost implies, Bowness without saying it almost implies that these guys did not want to win this game. You think they didn't want to win this game? They're athletes. They're wired to want to win. They wanted to win the game. They couldn't win. They didn't win the game. The Knights are a better team factually.
And everyone thought so going into the series.
And there was no inclination that everyone was like, "Oh, the Jets are the Jets are the favorites in the series." This is not even like an excuse. I'm just saying it's hard to win playoff games. And to go out there by yourself and actively question whether your players actually wanted to put in effort to win, or that they were lazy and did not want to win, or uncompetitive or untalented. It's really a shitty thing to do, and I would honestly say is relatively disqualifying as a coach to players.
I would have thought, I was convinced, Bradley, okay, this is the end for him. He's lost the locker room. How can you go back in there and lead men when you trash them like this to the press? When especially hockey, where they're all no old boys club and they really like to keep that stuff insular. They don't say anything of note to the press. That's hockey culture. And then he does that. How can you still lead those guys into the next season? Apparently, he's not getting fired.
Well,
he's got 1 year left on his contract, and the NHL is cheap as hell. And they are just. I mean, the Jets ownership is just gonna be like, yeah, sure.
Well,
1 year left.
Well, pop quiz, Emma. What day do you think Rick Bowness started coaching the Jets?
Oh.
Just give me a date.
September 1st, 2022.
Close. February 9th, 1989. Bowness coached the Jets, the Winnipeg Jets, because remember, this man's 68 years old. The first time he coached the Winnipeg Jets as a head coach was literally 33 and a half years ago. And then he went through the league, did his other kind of middling stints with Atlanta, with St. Louis, with one other team I'm not remembering at the moment. But then he came back to the Jets.
Are you
Hockey
serious?
Teams find other guys to coach your team challenge. You don't need the same freaking guy from when Reagan was still president or when H.W. Bush was still president.
I mean, that
to
was,
coach your team.
That was the first iteration of them. They've changed because they then were the Atlanta Thrashers,
Yep.
and then came back.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Well, but in '89 they were still the Jets.
That's hilarious.
So he was the Jets coach when they were still literally the first Winnipeg Jets, then the Atlanta Thrashers, and then now the new Winnipeg Jets.
Oh my God.
How is there not another person?
There are other people. Please, hockey, stop hiring the same guys from the same
anyone else
club.
exist?
Please. Hire one coach of color. That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
They have their first executive of color in San Jose, a brother of Chris Greer in the Miami Dolphins general manager.
Awesome.
Interestingly,
I love that.
I'm pretty sure.
Interesting.
I think his last name is Greer, so I could totally be making that up, but yeah, his brother Mike. Okay, good. Didn't get that wrong. It's just, but anyway, please, new ideas necessary, because that ain't it.